I used to think finishing a beat was the last step. Add a tag, export, upload, done. What I didn't realize is that I was leaving money on the table every single time I skipped one key detail: metadata. Metadata sounds so boring, I get it. But in the music world, especially for South African producers who want to earn money from sync, or even just beat sales, it's one of the most powerful things you can learn early. So let me tell you what I wish I knew from the start. The first time I uploaded a beat to YouTube that later got used in a low-budget web series, I didn't think twice. It had my name on it and the creator knew who I was. We had been talking. That should have been enough, right? Wrong. Because I didn't embed any identifying metadata. And I didn't register it with RISA or SAMRO, and no one knew it belonged to me. The creator must have loaded or changed the name and lost my details. So there was no ISRC code, no digital fingerprint, which meant no payout of any kind, no credit, no paper trail. That was a tough lesson, but it was also a turning point for me. The next thing to take note of is how metadata ties into your entire royalty ecosystem. Whether you're signed up with SAMRO, Capasso, Sampra, or all three, none of them can administer royalties on what they can't track. And RISA is where some of this tracking happens. Think of RISA as the administrator of your song's digital passport. The ISRC code they assign you isn't just for Spotify or Apple Music uploads, it's the anchor that tells any system, from a TV station in Europe to a TikTok licensing system, who made that track. I've spoken about how SAMRO pays you in one of my other videos that I previously uploaded. But what I didn't get to explain in that video is how a track without proper metadata might never be logged by the system, even if it gets played. And that's the scary part. One of your tracks that you put a lot of time and effort into just lost in a sea with little chance of tracking it. But here's the hopeful side. The moment you get your process in place, from titling your tracks properly, getting ISRC codes, embedding key info into the file itself, you start seeing the industry a little bit differently. It stops being luck and starts being infrastructure. Your song now has yet another way that it can be tracked, in addition to being registered with SAMRO. You can even create a simple metadata checklist for Excel to follow and track each export that you do. That's what I did before the RISA portal had the option to then log your tracks on the portal itself. My metadata spreadsheet included a consistent track title format, obviously the ISRC code that was associated with the track, the composer or the producer details, the mood and genre of the track, and the BPM, which I later added in addition to keywords, just because I was in sync licensing and it made sense that if I was going to be keeping information about a particular track, that it made sense that I kept keywords related to that, just so that I didn't have to do it at a later stage. If you're someone trying to get into sync licensing, this is a non-negotiable. Supervisors aren't just listening for sound, they're looking at file names, metadata, and the alt versions. When they receive a drive with 3,000 tracks to search through for the track they want, they're not going to sit there and listen to every single track hoping to find their gem. They're going to type in certain keywords that relate to what they're looking for, and if your track isn't labeled sufficiently, you'll just get lost. They're not going to pick you up. And unfortunately, you lose out on a silly technicality. Supervisors need files that are well tagged and ready to go. Now, if you haven't yet registered with RISA or aren't sure where to start, I'll cover that in a separate breakdown video. But the main takeaway is this: you can't afford to ignore metadata if you want long-term income from your music. You don't need a degree in tech or anything like that that's fancy. You just need a system and a repeatable rhythm you can replicate over time every time you release a new song. If this helped or sparked something, check out my SAMRO playlist on my channel. It ties directly into this topic and gives you the context to understand how all the royalty bodies work together. And if you're ready to build your catalog the right way, from metadata to sync strategy, hit that subscribe button. There's more coming. Peace.